In this video, I'm going to show you how to create and reuse rubrics in Pear assessment, and then how to use rubrics and have it automatically give feedback to students for your review. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the item bank, and I'm going to create a new item. And we use rubrics mostly on written response questions, so I'm just going to choose written and recorded, and then essay. I think you can choose short text as well, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to choose essay. And then you would add your question here. And I think I might have one. I'm just going to copy and paste on it from a different tab. Give me 1 second. It's just loading. Here we go. Okay, so this is the question. If I scroll down, I can tag my standards here, or I could keep going, and underneath scoring, I can generate a rubric using AI. It's going to be pretty basic, but this might work for most of you. However, if you have a rubric that you want to use or that you need to use when scoring written responses, for instance, the New York State grades 6 through 8, and there's a 3 through 5 one as well, has a specific rubric when scoring the written responses from those state tests. So it's a good idea, to use them and practice with them, with the kids. So I could create one, or I could, if I don't want the AI to create one for me and I want to use, that New York State one, I'm going to click Add Standards Aligned. You can create a new one from scratch, which I did a side-by-side screen and copied and pasted back and forth, and that took me maybe 10 minutes to create this rubric here in Pear assessment. If you're not used to copying and pasting and splitting your screen, that might take you a little bit longer than 10 minutes, but like I said, it didn't take me very long. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. If I click Create New Rubric, this is an empty one. It starts you off with wanting you to name it and give it a description. And then here's where you're going to take your criteria name. So what I did was split my screen in two. And in my criteria name, I wrote content and analysis. And then for rating 1, it's 4 points here, and this is the criteria for rating for 4 points. So I'm going to paste that here, make my screen big again so that I can see, and this is going to be worth 4 points. And then I'm going to keep doing that over and over again for each rating. So you're going to add, there's 5 ratings, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then there's 4 criteria. So you'd add new criteria, or what I did was I added the standards to the criteria and then I cloned it so that I didn't have to recreate the rating. It's a lot less clicks in adding the standards. So before I do anything else, I'm going to add the standards, and this one was writing 1, and then reading, and it was all of them, I think. So I just added all of them like that, and you can see that in this column here where it says NGLS, which Next Gen Standard it is aligned to, and that's where I got that information from. And then when I'm done adding all of the ratings and the standards here, I'm going to clone it and then just change the content. So that's how I did that. But I've already done one, so I'm going to click Add Standards, and I shared this with the whole community, so you could, if you are a New York State English teacher in grades 6 through 8, you could use an existing rubric, and if you just search New York State, you'll see this one that I just created here, and I can clone that. And if you teach 6th grade or 7th grade, you could clone this and then you can just change the standards to the 7th grade ones instead of the 8th grade. And that way your data on the reporting will be a lot easier to see and better to see because you won't be assessing 8th grade standards if you're a 7th grade teacher. So let me go back and do that again. I'm going to add that New York State grade 8. I'm going to click clone, and then I'm going to save and use. And once you've done that for yourself, it will say clone up here in the rubric name. You're just going to go ahead and edit that. And then you become the author of this, and then you can reuse it over and over again. It's a lot easier once you do that. And then X this screen out, and you'll see it down here where it says New York State Grade 8 Rating Evaluation Rubric. And so this is an item. I'm going to save this, and once I'm done saving it and I publish it, now it shows up in my little to-go cart for items that I want to make a test with. So if I click this up here, and they're both the same thing, so I'm just going to delete one. So you see that this is essay with rich text. Here are the standards that are aligned to the rubric criteria. If I view it as a student, this is exactly what they see. If I go to my settings, and this part's important, if you want AI to help you give the feedback, scroll down. Let me think of where it is. You can show the rubric to the students if you want, but here's the important part. Enable auto evaluation by AI. I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to save this. Right now it's saved as a draft. If I want to share it with my colleagues, I can publish it. If I'm not ready to assign it, I can say publish and assign later. But let me show you what happens after the student takes the assessment and what that looks like from the teacher point of view. I've had one here that I've pushed out to my fake class, and I can see that the students submitted it, and if I click on view responses over here on the right, it has been sort of graded. Now this is not what's released to the student yet. Well, it is this, technically this one is, but if I click edit just for the purpose of this demonstration, no, I don't want that one. I don't want that. View rubric details, I can see how the AI scored my student, and I can change that if I want to. And then down here it says student feedback. You can change this. You can read it and change it if you want, and then you can save that. And once you are done modifying, if you want to modify any of this, you can modify it. Then click save, and that's what the student will see. That's what will be released to them, is this, but you have to save it first. You have to save the student feedback and then save it again a second time, and then the student will be able to go to their Pear assessment dashboard and see everything that you added to the student feedback, the text part of it, and then how they did on the rubric itself. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.